Taxing junk food, the United States position on the debate. Why junk food? Well, in the United States alone, 2/3 of American adults and 1/3 of American children are now overweight or obese. Researchers say this has a lot to do with the fact that Americans consume on average 44.7 gallons of soft drinks annually. In liters, America consumes about 216 per year, with the closest country being Ireland, following up with only 126 liters a year. Another reason is that health-related obesity costs are projected to reach $344 billion by 2018, with roughly 60% of that cost borne by the federal government. For a precedent in attacking this problem, look at the action government took in the case of tobacco. During the historic 1998 tobacco settlement, states settled health-related lawsuits against tobacco companies in exchange for companies agreeing to curtail marketing and to pay various annual payments to the state to compensate them for some of the medical costs that came from smoking-related illnesses. More than half of all Americans who once smoked have quit, and smoking rates are about half of what they were in the 1960s. It's true that you don't need to smoke and you do need to eat, but these results prove to be significant. So, what is the so-called fat tax? It's a tax placed upon fattening food or beverages. Some even say it's a tax against certain individuals. It's an example of a Pigovian tax which aims to offset the economic costs of obesity by correcting the negative externalities of certain market activity. With the presence of negative externalities, overconsumption of the product often happens because the market outcome is not efficient. This happens when social costs of activity are not covered by private costs. They're suggesting a 20% excise tax on junk food. According to Oliver Mitten from the British Heart Foundation and his colleagues from Oxford, a 20% tax on sugary drinks in the US would reduce obesity levels by 3.5%. Some states already have taxes on soda, but they're mostly low, ineffective sales taxes paid at the register. The current tax would be an excise tax that is levied before the purchase. Excise taxes are simply taxes paid when a certain product is purchased. Therefore, excise taxes are on the production of a good, whereas sales taxes are on the sale of a good. More and more countries are adopting junk food taxes like the one the US is looking to implement. Both Denmark and Hungary have introduced some sort of junk food tax, and France is taxing sweetened drinks. A California legislation posed in February 2010 by Assemblyman William Monning of the Health Committee said AB 669 would levy an excise tax of 1 cent per ounce on any beverage with caloric sweeteners such as sugar and high fructose corn syrup. An estimated $1.7 billion by tax annually would be achieved and dedicated to funding physical fitness and childhood obesity statewide. Debate continues over whether or not to implement this junk food tax in the United States. Arguments for the tax include those such as the idea that taxes would reduce the consumption of unhealthful foods and generate billions of dollars annually, as mentioned by Monning in the previous slide. That money could be used to subsidize the purchase of healthy foods such as fruit and vegetables. Even 1 in 3 Americans believe that overweight people should pay more in taxes than healthy weight people, according to an article in Forbes magazine. However, a higher percentage of Americans believe we should tax these individuals rather than taxing junk food itself. The fact that taxing the overweight could garner support of 40% of the U.S. population, where 75% of the population is overweight, means that not only healthy weight people think that those that consume more healthcare dollars should pay. Many agree this is a fight to curb obesity 1 penny at a time. Those against the tax say it is a punitive attack on personal choice, and the government shouldn't be able to control what we eat by making certain foods more expensive. They also believe the money gained won't go towards subsidies or educational programs, but rather to cover the budget deficit. There is also the argument that higher prices lead to less sales, which in turn leads to less profit.